Good morning, children. So last days we discussed third lesson up to B part. Today we are going to discuss C part, that is linear momentum and Newton's second law of motion. You remember the first law of motion? Now we are going to start with the second law of motion. So here children, first we are going to discuss about the first part, that is linear momentum. What is linear momentum? I will explain it with some examples. Suppose a metal ball and a small ball, plastic ball, both are moving, and you want to stop the balls. Where you have to apply more force? One metal ball of big size, more massive one, and a small ball, both are moving with the same velocity, and you have to stop by applying force these balls together. Where you have to apply more force? Of course, for the heavy ball. Is it? You can imagine or you can experience by yourself. And the next one is, suppose two balls of the same mass moving with a different velocity. One is more faster than the other one. Then to stop the balls, where you have to apply more force? You have to apply more force on the ball which is moving with the more velocity. So from these two we can understand that the force needed to stop a moving object depends on two factors. In the first case, in the first example, mass of the object was the matter, and in the second example, the velocity of the object is the matter. So from this we are concluding that the force required for stopping a moving object depends on two factors, that is the mass of the object and the velocity of the object. So this product of mass and velocity together can be called as linear momentum. Linear momentum is the product of mass and velocity. Let mass be m and velocity is v. Mass is denoted by the letter m and velocity is denoted by the letter v. And linear momentum we can denote with the letter p. P is the product of mass and velocity. It is the product of mass and velocity. Or we can write P equal to mv. This is the formula of linear momentum. One more time, if you consider a moving object, to stop the motion of the moving object we need to apply force, and the force is depending on two things, two factors. The first factor is the mass of the object and the second factor is the velocity of the object. So the force applied on the object to stop it can be called as linear momentum. It is the product of mass and velocity of the object. In formula you can write P equal to mv, where m is the mass of the object and v is the velocity of the object. And in which direction the object is moving is a matter, or which direction we are applying force. Force is in the opposite direction of the motion of the object. So we can say linear momentum is a vector quantity. And let's see the unit of linear momentum. second. So momentum unit is kilogram meter per second in SI unit, and in CTS unit P equal to kilogram will change to gram and meter will change to centimeter. So this is the unit of momentum. So this much I hope you understood. First we discussed what is linear momentum, the equation of linear momentum, and the SI unit and CTS unit of linear momentum. Now children, we can learn change in momentum. Next topic is change in momentum. What is change in momentum? Or how the change in momentum can take place? As we discussed, P is mv. If you want to change this momentum, either mass should be changed or velocity should be changed. Is it? If you want to change the value of P is the product of m into V. So either you have to change the value or increase or decrease the value of m or V. And you know, for normal objects, mass remains a constant. Mass of the object is not always changing. Some special cases only there where mass of the object is changing. So mass remains a constant, so the change is taking place in velocity. So change in momentum, we can denote a small change in momentum can be denoted by the symbol delta. Delta denotes a small change in momentum. So we can write change in momentum as delta P. Change in, it can be read as change in momentum, which is equal to change in this mass and velocity. Okay, so here we discussed that mass remains a constant. So this can be changed, mass as a constant, and the change can be taken place in the velocity. So we can write delta V is equal to m into delta V. Understood? What is this? Change in momentum. Changing momentum can take place either by changing the mass of the object or by changing the velocity of the object. And most of the cases, other than some special cases, mass of the object is remaining a constant, so the change is taking place in the velocity only. So we can write this as mass is a constant and a small change is taking place in the velocity. So we can write delta P equal to m delta V. Okay. And some of the atomic particles moving with the velocity compared to the velocity of light. You know the velocity of light is 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. For the mass is not a constant. That is, their momentum changes in mass also. Which particle? Atomic particles moving with the velocity compared to the velocity of light. For them, m is not a constant. It increases with the increasing velocity. So their mass is increasing with the increasing velocity. That is a special case. I mentioned 50 times special case. So that is the special case we discussed over here. Now next topic is rate of change of momentum. Rate of change of momentum with respect to time. So when a force is applied on a moving body, its velocity changes. You know, due to this, momentum also will change. So mass is remaining a constant, we discussed in the previous topic, and when we apply force, the velocity of the object is changing. So we will consider a case that F be the force applied on a body of mass m, and its velocity changes in time t seconds from initial velocity to final velocity. So initial velocity we can take it as u and final velocity we can take as v. One more time, an object, we are applying a force F to stop the body and body's mass is m. We are taking the time duration as t, the rate of change. Time is taken as t and velocity is taking place, change is taking place from u to v. Where u is the initial velocity, that is before applying a force, and after applying force it is changed to v. So change in velocity is from u to v. Okay. Now from that we can understand that initial momentum of the body is mass. Momentum is always mass into p equal to mass into velocity. Initial velocity is taken as u. So it will become p equal to mu. And the final momentum p is equal to mv. And what is the change in momentum? It is initial momentum minus, final momentum minus initial momentum. Change in momentum can be written as final momentum minus initial momentum. So here you can see m is common in both the cases. So we can take m outside from both the terms, m into v minus u. Okay, so change in momentum is getting us m into v minus u. And if we are writing rate of change in momentum, rate of change in momentum means how we will write? According to time the momentum is changing, so rate we will write like this. And you notice this part v minus u by t. Are you familiar with this part? Already we discussed v minus u, change in rate of change of velocity. What it is? We know acceleration is equal to v minus u by t. Is it? We know. We already discussed this. Acceleration equal to rate of change of velocity. So here we are going to replace this much part by using a. So we can write it as, again, this as equal to m into a, that is mass into acceleration. So we are getting as rate of change of momentum of a body is mass into acceleration, and where mass is remaining a constant, acceleration will be changing. So I hope you understood how we derive this rate of change of momentum. Okay. So we can define the rate of change of a momentum of a body is equal to the product of the mass of the body and the acceleration produced in the body due to the force provided. Mass of the body remains a constant. So you have to learn this derivation. Okay. So we have another method for deriving this derivation, but I prefer this method. You can learn easily. We will see the next method in the next video.